You know what surprises me is how little presentation Power Rangers has in video games. It's kind of funny to me. Good God, that's loud. And Crazy Jim, thanks for the follow. Appreciate it. Hope you're having a good ass day. Yeah, I think it's weird that Power Rangers has all the lore and mythos and like variety in characters and like villains to be able to have a lot of AAA property, but they don't. Like Power Rangers would be a great solo experience. It would also be a great MMO. It'd also be a great co-op game. It'd also be a great RPG. But like on a triple A level, none of that exists. But I was saying earlier, about like Power Rangers having like all the mythos and lore and like storytelling, like be more than what it is. Like there's when you look at Power Rangers as a game entity, there's almost no major Power Rangers game. Like this game is a low budget like attempt at a fighting game. There was the side scroller, which is just an attempt at trying to like recapture the 8-bit side scrolling kind of. It's not really a side scroller, it's like a beat 'em up like Streets of Fury or a freaking Golden Axe, like that. Like there's no AAA title Power Ranger game. It's like how, why, like why is Power Rangers like a franchise that's as big as it is, but doesn't have the gaming success that you think it would just via its name? Like you think about like massive franchises that's been around for 30 years or longer than 30 years, they all have major status in gaming, in movies, and things like that. Where it's like Ernest has never achieved anything beyond its TV series, and two attempts at doing a movie. One of those attempts was like really good. Well, I guess three attempts. Two of those attempts were solid. The third attempt, not so much. But from a gaming standpoint, there's like it's not a thing. Like you compare it to say like Star Wars, which has been around for over 30 years. It succeeds everywhere it goes. Compared to trying to think of like other forms of cinema that's been around for like 30, 40, 50 years. That's like has a strong presence in every form of like media. And Power Rangers is like very strong in comics. Power Rangers comics are like actually very popular and well received and loved, but it's the gaming spirit and the movie spirit where like Power Rangers tend to not succeed. And I'm kind of like curious on if it's like is developers afraid to try out Power Rangers, or has no one really approached Saban and Hasbro with the idea? It's like because it could just be that. It could just be that no one has approached Saban and Hasbro with like a good enough AAA Power Rangers idea. Like there's no Xbox or Sony or EA or Ubisoft or Square Enix approaching them with any ideas. Because again, there's a lot of there's so many characters in Power Rangers, so many villains in Power Rangers, so many stories in the comics and the TV series themselves, where it's like it's weird that this hasn't formed a franchise in gaming that's even like a single player experience or an RPG experience or MMO experience, or a co-op experience on a AAA level. It's just so those were clips or just cuts from my live stream on Twitch, which you can follow by hitting the link below. We live stream every Monday through Thursday, 3 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. So when it comes to what I was talking about in those clips or in those cuts from stream, was I feel like Power Rangers has so much like lore and mythos to where it shouldn't be in a state that it's in. It's like it's weird to me that after all these years, all these game cycles when it comes to consoles or at least in PCs, that Power Rangers has never been a franchise that has been a AAA, producing franchise when it comes to video games. And it's weird because when you look at like I said before in the videos, so before this this cut, is that you look at stuff that's been out as long as Power Rangers, so 30 plus years, they all have a strong positioning in video games. Star Wars, Marvel, DC, a lot, Transformers, they have a strong like standing in gaming, but not Power Rangers. Like there's no AAA title Power Rangers, and it's weird to me. Like I don't know if it's Hasbro and Saban not wanting to spend that kind of money to invest in it, or to like do any kind of licensing with any big publishers to get that kind of content out there. I don't know if they don't think that they can have a successful AAA title. I think Power Rangers is still just as popular now as it was 30 years ago when it first came out. But like with all the people who are like who have aged out of Power Rangers, like I stopped watching Power Rangers when after SPD. SPD was like the last season of Power Rangers I actually watched. And there's people who are my age who watch beyond that. There's people who are my age who read the comic books and and they keep up with the entire franchise. I think people who are like me who stopped watching, in 2006, 2005, and people who stopped watching before that, if they saw a AAA Power Rangers, Spider-Man, if they saw a AAA Power Rangers game that was like this 4-player co-op or 5-player co-op, RPG open world experience or whatever, or MMO Power Rangers game, or even a single player Power Rangers game, if they saw a AAA high budget Power Rangers title, they don't care that it's been, however many years since they last cared for Power Rangers. They're gonna play it and buy it because nostalgia sells. A lot of things has proven that nostalgia sells, and that it doesn't matter how old something is. Star Wars hasn't had a lot of good games other than like Jedi Fallen Order recently. Yes, Battlefront 2 became a better game over time, but when it released, it wasn't. When the previous Battlefront game came out, that also wasn't like a great release. And you can count on one hand how many good Star Wars games has released in the last 15 years or so. And they're basically between 360 to 3, like you could, if you go back to the original Xbox, you had Jedi Academy and Jedi Outcast and Knights of the Republic 2, and even in PC you had the Old Republic for the MMO. Then you had Jedi Fallen Order. So it's like there's these in between all of those, there's huge gaps. So even Star Wars hasn't had like massive success when it comes to AAA video games, but the success that it does have shows that people will go out in droves and buy the product because it's the name Star Wars. I feel like the same thing is here with Power Rangers, where people would definitely go out in droves and buy Power Rangers video games, but they don't want to, buy low budget games. And I feel like that's kind of like what the disconnect is between, the consumers and Saban and Hasbro, is that I think that they put out these low budget titles like the beat 'em ups, little Streets of Rage style Rangers games and Battle of the Grid. They put out these low budget games with this, just to test the market to see, hey, how interested are y'all into Power Rangers video games? And people don't buy those games and they're like, oh, no one's interested. Well, they're not interested because it's low budget. Not only is it low budget, there's no marketing towards it. When I watch Xbox showcase during June, or Sony's little PlayStation State of Play, or Ubisoft Forward, or EA Play, or Nintendo Connect, or whatever, if I'm watching any of those things, or if I'm watching the Video Game Awards or GDC or Gamescom, E3, I don't see anything related to Power Rangers. You have to market stuff. You can't just be like, there's a Power Rangers game in the Xbox store, you can go buy it. Like, no, you have to market stuff. Are there ads on YouTube? Are there ads on Twitch? Are there ads on TV? Are you paying Twitch streamers to play the game, to promote the game? That's kind of how stuff works now, is getting these sponsorships with content creators to play the game so they can show the world that this stuff exists. And I feel like with Power Rangers, you need to do that, but you make sure that the product that you're choosing to license out to streamers needs to be of good quality and good budget. Otherwise people are gonna know, it's like, hey, I would definitely love to play Power Rangers, but this is low budget as hell. Like, people want to experience these games, but they want to experience them in full. They don't want to experience them in low budget increments. And I'm sure it's fairly easy to, when it comes to voice acting, to get a lot of the original people back, because most of them aren't really doing anything in acting now. JDF is always involved in Hunger, so that's an obviously easy one. You can get a lot of those people back and actually have them fully voice acting. Battle of the Grid, you only hear the voice acting in like these very rare cut scenes. Most of the dialogue is delivered to you through text with no audio. So it's like, there was just a waste. Like, why bring Jason David Frank and August St. John, and they're not really reading on like the actual core dialogue that the player would experience off the game. So I just feel like there's so much potential here. And there's another game who also shares this though. Like, it's not just Power Rangers, it's also Digimon. They throw a lot of games out, but they're a high budget. And Digimon, much like Power Rangers, is a game that probably could have great success if they learn how to market and actually start partnering with bigger publishers or development teams to put out content. Same thing comes to Yu-Gi-Oh. Yu-Gi-Oh could do a lot of things. Like how are we not getting a Yu-Gi-Oh MMO where you create your own duelists and you go around towns like Battle City and Duelist Kingdom, things like that, and you duel people? How do we not have that? There's a lot of these nostalgic TV shows and cartoons that we grew up with that could easily be successful in the video game market, but aren't because they're not marketing correctly and they're not putting out the content that we actually want. You know, Pokemon's been doing amazing because they put out what people want, and they figured out what the formula was. Pokemon found a formula that worked and just kept selling that formula over and over and over again, just reskinning it with new Pokemons. Digimon needs to find a formula that works and then do it. Yu-Gi-Oh has this formula, but I think that formula has to evolve because it's kind of stale now. Duel Links is a dead game. Master Duel is a dead game. Power Rangers, same thing. Find a formula that works, put it out. You have potential. Like I said, MMOs, RPGs, open world games, you know, four player co-op games or 5-player co-op games against Power Rangers, you know, even single player experience games. There's a lot here. There's a lot of Power Rangers, a lot of mythos when it comes to comic books, and all these shows. You have 30 years of TV shows. That's 30 years of backstory and lore that you can put into a video game. Do it. People will buy it, and also market it. You know, that's the funny thing about it. It's not just about making it the game. Market it. It needs to be on YouTube. It needs to be on Twitch. It needs to be, you know, you need to get some licensing with some content creators that are playing like a sponsored game. You know, be it whoever you can find. I'm sure there's some people out there who are, you know, big partners on Twitch who grew up watching Power Rangers, who definitely will play a brand new Hunters games. You know, do that. Market your game the way that you see other games being marketed, and then watch the cash flow. You'll realize you've been missing out. I feel like Hasbro and Saban are missing out when it comes to what they could do with Power Rangers. But with all of that said, if you think of watching, I'll catch you guys on the next one. The next video we'll do will actually be a review of Battle of the Grid. It's not really a review, but we're going to talk about Battle of the Grid. Not going to spoil what we're going to talk about when it comes to it, but just know that that's coming down the pipeline. Yeah, y'all be safe. You got to another video, boy, the Gamer Archer. I'll catch you on the next video. Catch you on my live stream. Again, we'll stream from Monday through Thursday. 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Eastern. Link in the description box below. So it's on your screen right now if you just want to look at it. I'll catch you guys on the next one. Like I said, y'all be safe. Stay kind to another. I'm out of here. Deuces.